everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Perfect Blend podcast hosted by yours truly, Kay, aka formerly known as K Day. You can also call me Khalif deep in the streets. Okay, welcome to my podcast. So normally for people who listen to my podcast, I normally do audio episodes. Occasionally I will do a visual episode here and there. So today, y'all are getting lucky because I have a special guest who is a friend of mine and an amazing soul and amazing spirit. Welcome, Michael Castro. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. I'm sorry I don't have like the fancy side effects, but we're here and we're getting it popping. Okay.
Yes. Period.
Yes. So a little bit about Michael. I refer to Michael as Castro. I love your last name, Castro.
Mhm.
It's so fierce.
Yeah, everyone says that too now.
Can I call you that? I already call you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Castro is a community advocate, and Castro also does a little bit of content, but not your usual content. This content is a little bit steamy. Oh, oh my God, no. Yes. So today we are going to have a really, really great conversation, a really, really informative yet fun, lighthearted conversation about sex work and what that looks like. And Castro currently works in that particular realm and wanted to come onto my show and speak about certain things about it and give us more of a candid look and understanding as to what that is like for them and their perspective. Okay. All righty. So Castro, can you before we get into the questions of that, tell me a little bit about you. Where are you from? um like who is Michael Castro?
Great question. I'm originally from San Francisco, and I know you're also originally from the Bay too, right?
I'm originally from Fresno, California.
Okay, nice. Is that considered the Bay?
No, I wish.
Oh.
Fresno is like Northern California.
Okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
Central
originally.
Cali.
Oh, okay, like Central.
Yeah, it's on the way to the Bay.
Um,
Our
well,
friend, our mutual friend shades me and says that Fresno is basically Bakersfield, which it isn't.
yeah, because that's like miles away from Bakersfield.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't understand though because they're LA girl.
Hmm.
You know how LA girls are. But back to you.
Yeah, I'm originally from San Francisco, Daly City. I moved out with my family when I was 8, and I live now in the San Fernando Valley, LA County. I'm an artist, I'm a poet, I'm comic relief. Love shooting the shit and kikiing and being stupid.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know what else to say. And I do sex work. That's it.
And it's okay. And it's okay that you do sex work, okay?
Yeah.
Girls
Sorry,
go
that was like the last piece. I was like, what else? Oh, the sex work. Yeah. And I do like
well,
light sex work on the side.
well, a girl has to get her coins, okay? No judgment
Period.
here. She has to get
Gas.
her coins. Yes.
Gas,
And
groceries.
and you also do community work as well.
Oh, yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you do a lot. You're a jack of all trades.
I am.
They're gonna put some respect on your name after this interview, okay?
Let's a jack all the trade.
um, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm actually just getting off of being sick. I contracted something. And so I'm kind of like trying to get back on my feet. And that's another thing about sex work. Like you will contract things, just test yourself and like treat yourself afterwards and stuff like that and take care of yourself. So I guess that's an ironic thing about this piece is that I contracted something and I'm like sick.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Well,
but
I
I'm feeling
appreciate your
better.
transparency and your candidness there. And
Yeah, it's
I hope
real.
you're recovering pretty well. I know we talked off record and you're doing good.
It's a lot better.
Yes. So with that being said, can you define sex work, the meaning of sex work? Can you define that? What is sex work and what does that mean? What's the meaning of that?
Yeah, I think sex work is anything in an exchange of pleasure, currency, sometimes housing, sometimes somewhere to stay. Um, there's a saying in sex work where it's like sex work is the oldest trade in the book. Like people have been doing sex work since a millennia ago, you know. Um,
Mm.
But yeah, I think it's just anything, whether I don't think there necessarily has to be penetration in sex work. Like a dom is considered sex work, like going to a dungeon and like working, that's like sex work. Like it's not always penetration. It can mean a lot. When did you put on glasses?
Oh, I'm a magical girl, honey. She's a unicorn.
Good. But yeah, it's a number of things. So it's like, yeah, sex work can be working on a corner, walking the boulevard, or it can be virtually talking to someone all the way in China that likes your feet.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh. Or also like back in the day they used to do phone sex too, right? Like
Oh
phone
my God, yes,
Mhm.
phone sex operators. Yeah,
And like chat rooms, live links.
let me hear your best phone sex operator voice.
Oh, honey, she's the interviewer. Can I hear yours?
Thanks for calling Los Angeles single fathers. No, that's a very
Not,
femme voice.
not single fathers. Jesus. We don't want to break up happy homes. No. I'm joking. I'm joking. So, okay, so you're saying that sex work is something that is done in exchange, rather, and it could be utilizing your body. It could be done through a virtual platform. It could be done
Mhm.
through any type of like phone or things like that on camera. It could be done with the old school notion of it, which is taking it to the streets. A
Mhm.
streetwalker, a lady of the night, or a boy of the night.
Yes.
Catch that. Yes. So, and also too, sex work also incorporates, certain professions such as like exotic dancing,
Mm-hmm.
burlesque dancing as well, right? Cam
Yeah.
shows.
Pole dancing.
So it's an umbrella term for all forms of pleasure that are
Hmm.
exchanged for some form of currency, correct? Rather it be money or housing or food or shelter.
Hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
some type of like eroticism and an exchange for something that the other party either needs or requests. Like
Mhm.
sometimes like the girls on the Twitter, like they'll have like an Amazon list and they'll just be like, "Oh, you want a picture? Like buy me something on my Amazon wish list." So like it could be anything.
The girls on Twitter, can you tell the listeners about Twitter? Can you tell the girls about that world?
Yeah, I think so. OnlyFans and Twitter and Just for Fans, like everyone needs to utilize some social media platform to get their audience, especially if most of it's visually being recorded and being, sold or being watched online. So
Mhm.
like Twitter is probably like the best format for you to commercialize yourself. So like you'll use Twitter to, send or post videos or snippets of something that you just did or photos or very hot photos. And I think it's the only platform right now besides maybe Snapchat where you can like still post things nude. Um,
Oh, so on those two apps are where people could post explicit photos and be
mhm,
paid for it or figure out a way to market themselves. So
mhm.
sort of like an advertising tool in a way.
Yeah, like I
Or marketing tool.
encourage, yeah, if you're looking into doing OnlyFans work or sex work virtually, like Twitter, Snapchat, lightly Instagram, lightly Facebook, but those are like your main go-tos where you want to like sell yourself.
You mentioned earlier, oh, the journalist in me is out. You mentioned earlier how sex work is one of the oldest trades. That is something that T.S. Madison also speaks of. You know
Mm,
who T.S. Madison is, correct?
mhm. Puerto
Yeah,
Rican.
yeah, T.S. Madison, Diamond Styles. I don't know if you know who Diamond Styles is. She's fantastic as well. Check her out, Marsha's Plate podcast, Black Trans Talk. Amazing woman. But sex work, for the listeners and viewers, sex work is one of the oldest trades known to man, where also too, outside of currency, some individuals also do sex work for survival as well,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Yeah.
When you are an individual who lives a life where you exist amongst the margins within society, it could be
Mhm.
difficult for you to obtain housing, to obtain a sustainable job or equitable employment, right? So
Hmm.
in some cases, sex workers, it's a choice, correct?
Hmm. No, of course.
Metro? And
Yeah.
then also for some, it's actually just strictly for survival.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that true? Or
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, even if you think about BC, like the 1400s, like men or fathers would sell their daughters for like cattle. Like, oh, like someone
Mm.
will come to your door and be like, oh, I want your daughter, I have these 5 sheep. And the daughters would be like,
A 5 sheep.
like, yes, like yeah, my family could use these sheep, I'll go with you, you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
like that in itself is like, like, oh, I have 5 other siblings here that need to eat for the winter, and I have like, I will, go with this man so that my 5 other siblings can eat. So like in a sense, that's like survival. Like you want to
It
make
is
sure that your
survival.
siblings.
It
Yeah.
actually is.
Hmm.
Or you might have a mother who has a daughter and her daughter is beautiful. And like I've heard of situations like that where an older man would be interested. And by the way, we are not supporting what is that called? Sex trafficking or human
Yeah,
trafficking?
sex trafficking.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. I'm not supporting that. I'm just saying I've heard of stories
Hmm.
where parents will have a pretty daughter or a beautiful, attractive daughter and they auction her off to older men.
Hmm. Yeah. I
Is that a
actually,
form of sex work or is that a form of something else? Because we want to tread lightly with that. I don't want nobody coming for me on YouTube, child. Okay.
yeah, I think that's a touchy subject. That's
That's a very
true.
touchy subject. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's
But
move on.
what's funny? It's not funny, but like you probably revoked my gay card for this, but I've never seen The Color Purple, and I saw it for the first time the other day, and like
Mm.
he kind of gives his daughter to this man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that was, and that's not even like BC. That was like maybe like the 17, not the 1700s, but like maybe the 1800s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that's crazy.
It is crazy. And um yeah, it's interesting how people's bodies are in a way outside of sex work and someone doing sex work as a profession. This
Mhm.
broadens the conversation as to how some individuals are sort of auctioned or forced as
Mhm.
well when we
Mhm.
talk about human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Mhm.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, for some reason, my mind just keeps going to like how, essentially inherently, like all of our bodies, like I'm not sure if I'm gonna frame this right, but like we're all sex workers, right? Like everyone uses their bodies, or the government, or capitalism all uses our bodies, whether it's in the food service industry, whether it's in the office, whether it's on the field, construction, in the
Mm,
military. It's like it may not be sex work, but like people are using our bodies all the time, for things.
mm.
I don't know how
You're
that's
saying it's
associated.
Oh, no, no, I see. So are you saying that in a way our bodies are being utilized within this capitalistic world that we live in, not even just our society, but in this
Yeah.
world, our bodies do have to be used in a way, rather you're clocking in at a 9 to 5 or doing
Hmm.
physical labor at a construction job. There is
Yeah.
some sort of labor that is done, rather it be done on your physical body or your mind as well, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
um, where our bodies are all being utilized in some way. So you're stating that
Mhm.
sex work can also be put into conjunction with regular forms of
Hmm.
work, right?
Yeah,
Is
'cause
that where we're
yeah,
going?
yes, yeah, essentially, because we're all worker bees, you know what I mean? And like I would die. Like my dream one day is to like really get successful with this stuff and like stop working a 9 to 5. Like I would love to get
Mhm.
flown out, go to Mykonos, and like go let some old white ugly fat bastard suck on my toes and stuff like
Oh,
that for five for 500, $800, and like working a 9 to 5 job, for the rest of my life is not realistic for me. Like that's,
mhm.
and I get really envious of like the girls that up there that are like doing major big things, not big things, but like, you know, they're
They seem
getting
to
flown
be
out.
like making like a killing or
Yeah,
yeah,
like cars, they got like these nice apartments, and I'm like,
houses.
yeah, and I think it's so fierce. So like I really do see myself one day like getting my body like getting my body better, and just like really really going for it and putting my, because I have like a few of my toes in. I don't have my entire leg in like the sex work and like the OnlyFans stuff.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's draining because like the work that I do, like it's hard to like go back on Twitter and like talk to all of these people that have just commented on this photo I liked, and then engage with them, because that's an important thing about the sex work online, at least, is engaging with your followers, because
Mhm.
like that's how you keep them subscribing, you
Right,
know, talking
right.
to them, because that's what essentially a lot of people want, is just someone to talk to, and they want to see your lady parts, honey.
Oh. All right. Well, let's actually rewind.
Mhm.
Let's take it back for the audience. How did you get your start in sex work? Like how did you get your beginnings in this particular field?
It's funny because my ex at the time, we were like, just recording ourselves for the fun of it. And we were like, we should make a Twitter, huh? And so like at the time, like it was fun and we were just like recording things and like we had a few followers, but we weren't really like going crazy with it. And it wasn't until like him and I had separated, I started like going into it more and I started like engaging more and was seeing that I was like making a penny off of it. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cute. But it is tiring sometimes. I don't always have energy to go on it and engage with people, and it's really, 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 really hard finding people to record with. Um,
Mm. Or like
yeah,
collaborate with.
yeah, and
Because
collab with.
you have to post your content and you have to go out and find
Mhm.
other individuals. So is that a way to also grow your fan base or like your audience, your followers as well when you
Yeah,
collaborate
like
with others?
collabing with other people. Like I've had people with a lot less followers than me like reach out to me and like want to collab, and I'm like, yeah, of course, like because I have so and so more followers than you, so like it's kind of like helping other people out. When someone who has like some type of following, messages you and reaches out, you either share each other's posts, you share the content that you created together, so it's kind of like an exchange of like not currency, but like we're both getting something out of this.
Mm. So you got your start with a with an ex of yours, correct? So this was something that was more so you sort of just kind of fell into it. It wasn't like a, oh, I need like to actually like do this as like a career or like a, you know
Hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
just kind
yeah.
of fell into it.
It was just for funsies, and like now I've recorded like a handful of things like this year with a handful of people already. So it's kind of like it's not like I wish it was a career. I wish I had more because it is a job like getting on your phone and like
Mhm.
talking to these followers for hours on a day
And
and like
having to
engaging with
engage with them in
them.
a way to sell, because at the end of the day, you are still selling a product, correct?
Yeah.
The
And
product is the visual. So it's like you have to figure out a way to market yourself and engage and talk to them and keep them coming back, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And then I think for a lot of folks too, even in general in the world of social media, we're so, everyone takes a photo and we look at it. Like
Mhm.
we look at ourselves and we're like, this is wrong, this is off. And so like imagine doing that with our naked bodies,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're taking pictures of our naked bodies and we're like, I don't like this, So it's this constant like reintroducing yourself to like self-esteem and all these other things. And so like it's that part and then also engaging with the followers and like people that you might not necessarily find attractive telling you things like, "Oh my God, you're so beautiful." Like, "Oh, thanks, Pa." Like, what am I supposed to
Mhm.
say?
Can you elaborate? Oh, so you mentioned that what also makes it difficult is the what not only just engaging with your audience who's watching you, right? And having to pick yourself up when you're probably not feeling like it, right? But engaging with
Mhm,
them. Can you also elaborate more on the self-esteem aspect of it? On
mhm,
how can you talk more about like
mhm,
does it actually help one's self-esteem or does it actually decrease your self-esteem sometimes? What are your
mhm.
thoughts on that?
I think that's a good question. I remember we were talking earlier about how like just being as LGBT people and people of color. I know for myself, like I come from a household where a lot of things were absent. Like I didn't have both parents in the household all the time telling me things like, "Oh, you did such a great job," like, "Oh my God,
Mhm.
look at this," like, "You're so beautiful, Michael," like, "Oh my God, you're so handsome," like,
You
"Oh,
don't
you
have
look
those
so good."
affirmations from your parents. Sorry to interrupt you. The
Yeah, no, no, no. Yeah, the affirmations and the mirroring, like I didn't have any of that. And so like as I get older and like being in Los Angeles and the vanity, like guys telling me that as I'm like in my late 20s, that shit feels good. Like it
Mhm.
feels good and it's validating. So like I don't ever let things like that like let the vanity get to me because I feel like one, I'm a Virgo, and two, like I just don't like sweat off of stuff like that. I'm just like, okay, thank you, whatever. But
Mhm.
I know for some people like, they're the WeHo gays or like these really famous content creators, they do not pay people dust.
Mhm.
Like their egos and their vanity just like really gets to them. Like they only hang out with people that look like them
Right.
so forth and so forth. And like my entire personality is not OnlyFans content, like I'm
Mhm.
an artist, I'm a poet, I'm a advocate, community worker, and all these different things. So like this
Mm,
is just one little snippet of me on the side that I really do enjoy, like in my private life,
mm,
that a lot of people kind of know. But
mm.
yeah, it could eat at people the ego stuff.
So for you, you're basically it doesn't really eat at that for you because you're a Virgo, and you're like, honey, I'm okay. But I also like how you mentioned how validation is still a silent factor in the background for you a little bit,
Yeah, it
just a
definitely
little bit.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think that's why I do things at 100% all the time, or not even 100%, but like I do things. I like getting praised, like my art, my poetry. I like being competitive. Like I like, doing things and knowing that shit's hot. Like not just with the sex work, but like with my art and like other stuff. So like I do enjoy all of those little things. Because I don't have a big ego, and so like
Mm-hmm.
or so yeah, that stuff just gets me high.
Okay. So I like how you actually stated how you do other things outside of OnlyFans because oftentimes the misconception with OnlyFans workers or sex workers, right, is that this is all that they're capable of, or that they don't
Mhm,
have other areas of their life, that they don't have other passions, right? So
mhm,
I'm glad you actually mentioned that because that segues into my next question. What are
mm.
some common misconceptions about sex workers that you would like to speak up about or speak on in general?
Ooh.
Or also too, let's push it further. What are misconceptions about you that people have due to you
Oh,
doing OnlyFans? So answer both of those.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's do it.
I
Yeah.
think some misconceptions of sex workers, I think like they're just one. I think a lot of people think that like they literally wake up and have sex all day. Like that is
Mhm.
not that is not what goes on.
Mhm.
The like really the people that are really invested in this trade have videographers. They have these sometimes they have like people doing their Twitter stuff for them. Like they're it's a job. Like it's essentially a 9 to 5 for them. And so like they're not just waking up and having sex every day, but a lot of the work is about sex. So like it
Mm.
might come up multiple times throughout the day, right? And so like I think that's just one misconception that like they just have sex all day. And I think another one too also is like the STI component. Are they being safe and stuff like that? But I'm like, you can contract an STI from hooking up with one person today. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
you can contract it at a gangbang that it was recorded for OnlyFans with 10 other guys. So like it's just
Mhm.
STIs, I feel like for the community has always been like, oh, like if you do this, you're gonna get it. And I'm like, but if you do anything, you're gonna get it.
Mm. So you're stating that one misconception is oftentimes if you are a sex worker that you're just literally just having sex like all day long, just wham bam
Yeah.
all day. And
And
then another one is that you are contracting or transmitting. Is that the same
mhm.
thing? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Journalists, get it together. Ouch. Um, basically, you are more susceptible to receiving or passing along STIs. But your point is that either way, regardless, and you actually told me this off air before a few months ago. You said how either way you are so susceptible to STIs regardless if you do sex work or not. If
Hmm.
you're not
If
wrapping
you're
it up,
having sex in general,
if
you're
you're
gonna
having
get
sex in general, right? Or and also if you're not getting tested, right?
it.
Because don't a lot of the OnlyFans, or correct me if I'm wrong, some of them also require their fellow collaborators to have a full STI panel,
Hmm.
sheet of their results proving that they are negative, correct? Or
Hmm.
negative of all STIs, including HIV
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember about a month ago I can we get explicit?
Do what makes you feel comfortable, but be mindful of language.
I I
I
remember a
want you
month
to feel
ago.
comfortable though. Go ahead.
I remember okay, I'll like vaguely
Try to
explain
be a
it.
little mindful of it. We can't say like certain things, but
Okay.
because
But I remember
YouTube will pull this down.
okay, Daddy. No, I remember I filmed last month with this guy, amazing guy, really sweet, big stuff. And I remember the conversation we had about STIs and sexual health. He had told me like, what are, are you on PrEP, all these different things. And I said, yes, I'm on PrEP. But the last time I had got tested was, in so and so month. So, and I have had a lot of condomless sex since then. And he was like, okay, that's a good point. We should use condoms. And I'm like, yeah, like, so those are a lot of oftentimes like, and that's another good misconception too, is that like a lot of OnlyFans content creators, they're very on top of sexual health. They get tested all the time. They get tested before they meet with someone. They get tested. They're on PrEP. They're on the STI PrEP. They're really on top of like their sexual health.
Now, PrEP for the audience, PrEP stands for pre-exposure prophylaxis. It's a
Mhm.
pill that an individual takes once a day to protect them from HIV, correct?
Mhm.
I used to be a
Mhm.
PrEP navigator back in the day. That's how we met. Yay. Um,
Mhm.
okay, awesome. Okay, so you were just stating that basically they're really good about their sexual health and maintaining that as best as they
Mhm.
can.
Yeah, you
Wonderful.
really good. They're on top of it.
Yes, yes, yes. I appreciate how you worded things, by the way. Thank you. Because YouTube, if you say the wrong thing, honey, that
I
you gotta
know.
save that for the phone call or the kiki after.
Right. Yeah, because right. Because I remember when I went beep, beep, beep,
Right. I wish I
beep.
could bleep it out. That'll make it more lit, right?
I know, right?
Yes. Okay, well, thank you for your answers in
Yes.
regards to that.
No
Now,
problem.
our next question, is sex work really work or is it simply just for pleasure? Can people find pleasure in sex work? Can we elaborate a little bit more? I know you mentioned that a little bit earlier, but
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely enjoyed a lot of the collaborators I've hooked up with and recorded with. Some of them are like I consider this some of them friends, and
hmm,
other ones are just like really good acquaintances that I have met. Acquaintances. I don't know how to
yeah,
say that
you're
word.
you're right. Yeah, acquaintances.
Okay. LAUSD school.
No, don't do that. You're a very educated girl. No, we're not going to put ourselves down. You are more than qualified.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and so like, ooh, I'm drawing a blank.
You were stating that you've actually developed a sense of community, like
Yeah,
friendships,
community.
acquaintances. Yeah.
Yeah, friendships. Twitter has introduced me to so many people across the country.
Hmm.
Maybe not so much around the world, but like I literally had a friend that I met through Twitter, and OnlyFans content stuff, from Texas, and he flew out here like 3 weeks ago, and we
Hmm.
like hung out and like did stuff. And so like yeah, it's just like it's kind of like a little community. Like everyone knows kind of everyone, like all the famous people and like who the ones to stay away from and like the ones
Oh, the
yeah,
tea.
there's like yeah, there
You know, the
is
real
tea.
tea. Oh.
Yeah, there is a lot of tea in content creating, lots of tea. And I think that's another thing too, like that's why it's so important to like get tested and treat yourself because if someone hears about you and you contracted something from them, the OnlyFans girl, they go straight to line and they be like, Michael told me that he was da da da, and I ended up getting this the
Mm.
next day, and he lied to me like that.
Oh,
No
so the
one,
girls get messy. It gets a little messy.
yes, it gets really messy. Like I've seen some of the stuff on Twitter. I'm like, ooh,
Oh, girls shake up the table.
yeah.
Thank you for answering. Next question. We are running a little bit short on time. How does sex work affects one's love life?
Oh, that's a
You
good
like a quick little
question.
succinct answer to that.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, so like my ex and I, at the time we were in an open relationship. And
Mhm.
so at the time we did collab with like one person for like OnlyFans stuff at that time. But yeah, we were open before we even started creating content. But now if I were to start dating, I tell a lot of my peers, like if I were to start dating again, like I would have to be in an open relationship. Like I'm not a monogamous girl. Like I don't see
Mhm.
myself staying monogamous. I mean, maybe for like the first few months meeting someone, just to get to know each other and all that stuff, which is,
Right.
I encourage everyone to, to try to have space allotted for themselves to figure out who the other person is. But like, yeah, down the road, like open relationship is definitely my gig.
Mhm. Mhm.
And like yeah, I would always be honest, like, hey, I do this on the side, what's good?
So you're stating that after your start with sex work with your former partner, your ex, it now you're more open to either an open relationship or a polyamorous dynamic, correct? Two different
Maybe
things.
not.
Not
Maybe not
polyamory.
poly. Yeah, maybe not polyamory.
Polyamory is when it's like multiple relationships in one, correct?
Yeah, so there's like a main, so like
You have
oh,
the primary partner,
yeah, primary
and
partners, and then
then
there's like extensions or like
yes,
side relationships, and sometimes they all live in the same house. Sometimes, one of them might be intimate, but
with the
the other ones might
other.
not be intimate with that one. So it's just a yeah.
But all parties are aware of the relationships, correct?
Hmm.
So an open relationship means that you have just one partner, but you all have an agreement of sorts, right?
Yeah.
You have a main partner, but you agree to entertain others, but you still have
Mhm.
that one relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah. Like I could do an open relationship and friends with benefits with like side partners, but polyamory, I'm already worrying about one person. Like I can't worry about like five people.
You don't want like the emotions of like six people together in the
Yeah,
house.
but I know that rent is good, honey. They probably got low rent.
Oh, that rent cheap, child. Oh my God, we need the cheap
Right?
rent. With
Six
inflation
people,
going on.
six
Oh
people
my
in the house. Mm.
not six people in the house. Well,
Mm.
you have made wonderful, wonderful points. Are there any like last thoughts that you have or anything else that you want to say? I know we have about 6 minutes left, and I know you have to carry on with your evening, and I do want to be mindful of your time. Is there any like last points that you want to make or any juicy points that you want to make for our audience?
If you want to film with me, my I'm just
Oh.
kidding.
You were like, let me get on here and find some collaborators. Ciao.
Right.
That was a good one. I like that.
I can't really think of anything. All I know is that like if anyone is interested in going down this line of work,
Mm.
be safe, protect
Yeah, what's
yourself.
some advice? Yeah, let's do that. What's some
Yeah,
yeah.
protect yourself, be safe. I know the limelight is very attractive to a lot of people, and so like, I've seen like 18-year-olds on like doing this stuff, and I'm always like,
Mhm.
because it's like they have so much I mean, sex, kids are gonna have sex regardless,
Right.
but like sometimes there isn't always that like big brother, big sister thing going on with a lot of content creators. And so I have seen oftentimes where like these 40, 30-year-olds will like reach out to, and this is another thing in the Twitter world,
Mhm.
content creators like they shade the guys that hook up with just like the 18-year-olds because there's
You look
a
at it as like borderline
yeah,
P
because
word, P word for you too. P word, P word, P word.
right. Because
Yeah.
there's a platform for that. Like people like watching older men with younger guys. And so like the older guys, I'm not going to say their names, but like these content creators will like reach out to these like 18-year-olds or these like borderline teen twinks,
Like
who just
fresh out of
hit
high
18.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, the girls will drag them or like somebody will be like, "Oh, this person has been talking to me since I was 16." So like it happens, what is that
Like
word?
grooming them
Grooming,
the
thank
entire
you.
time and then waited till they turned 18.
Yeah, to
And
film
that
with.
happens to boys too, correct?
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
oftentimes. And so, and if anyone's interested in doing this type of stuff, just be careful and be safe. And have, most importantly, have fun. And keep your private life private. If, did this freeze? Is this thing
It
on?
did freeze. It's freezing. I don't know what's happening. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, it froze, but I'm still here. So we're gonna pray that it all works out because it's
Okay,
still
fierce.
recording. But
Yeah,
keep
and
talking,
so
keep talking.
yeah, so I just think that like um have fun above all else, and keep your lives private. I'm not going to say too much, but like a previous job that I did have, I got into a little bit of trouble with my Twitter because people are like really bored with their lives, and misery loves company, and so like just be very private with your lives. Make sure you block people that you don't want seeing there, like um oh
Okay, I'm here. I'm here. We're here. Last words.
yeah, but yeah,
Well,
that's about it,
well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to my podcast and agreeing to do this. And I hope this was a space where you felt like good about this and you felt that you could, express yourself and share with us how this is from your perspective, because a part of having you here is I really not only just curiosity, but I really wanted to shed light to people who do sex work and show that there is a humanity there. You all are human. We all are human. And
Mhm.
you all are capable, and it's and not just capable, but you all are already capable of doing so much, and you all already do a lot as is, right? Because there are a lot of misconceptions about sex workers, whether you're a street girl, lady of the night, walking the block on Santa Monica and La Brea girl, hopping in a
Mhm.
taxi, or you're an OnlyFans in the safety of your home. You get what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Right.
It's different, it's levels to this, right?
Mhm.
But every everyone has a start and everyone has a story. So
Mm.
thank you for giving us a pocket of your story. I know we didn't get like the full thing about all of you, but thank
Mhm.
you for giving us a snippet of who you are with my podcast and the perfect blend. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me, Kay. It's always a treat kikiing and talking with you.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna stop the recording, but you stay on, okay? All right, let me wrap this up. How do I hold on? Hold
Is this
on.
thing on?